Today, I want to talk a little bit about the most powerful tool for creating emotional connections and driving sales with storytelling. Now, you might believe that facts, figures, and product features are enough to convince people to buy, when in fact, those are actually the things that repel people from buying. It feels like a generic pitch, and I totally get it. We've all been through traditional sales training that focuses on the features and the benefits and the objections and all of this techno jarvis that honestly ends up leaving people feeling disconnected and kind of gross in the selling process. But let me tell you a quick story. You see, after working with dozens of entrepreneurs, helping to sell millions of dollars in products and services, I've learned a few tricks of the trade that have allowed me to break the barriers between your prospect and the sales professional, but also deepen the relationship that you're cultivating, which means that people are excited to continue to buy from you, to stay engaged in your ecosystem, and to remain one of your raving fans inside of your community. I discovered this because a few years ago, I was pitching my products and services to my very own group of investors and consumers. I had all the facts, all the figures, the projections, everything that I could possibly need totally memorized and scripted out. But as I spoke, I watched their eyes glaze over. And have you ever been in a situation where you can tell your prospect is looking at their phone or slightly distracted, nodding their head awkwardly as you know their attention is on something else? No one was connecting with the information that I was sharing with them. And even though it was precise, even though the features and the benefits were so impactful, they were falling on deaf ears. That's when I realized that I really needed to change my approach. I really needed to change how I was going to capture their attention, how I was going to connect with them, how I was ultimately going to get them to say yes to my offer. And instead of focusing on the product, I started to take it back to my story. The very story that started and inspired this entire movement. I started sharing stories of the people whose lives were transformed right alongside mine. I shared the story of my mother and how she nurtured and nourished me back to health. And suddenly, the room came alive. The investors were no longer distracted. They were fully present. The product that we were discussing was no longer about the features or the benefits of what it could deliver, but the person behind the system. And that was me. This experience taught me that the stories are, in fact, the bridge between information and emotion. And it's always going to be the emotion that drives the decision-making. When I started using this technique, my conversion rates tripled. And so did that of my clients and my customers, the people that I have shared these exact strategies with. And my audience engagement completely skyrocketed. As a matter of fact, in less than 45 days, we went from 100,000 people on my audience to over 340,000 people hyper engaged. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Storytelling isn't just nice to have. It's an essential part for creating emotional connections that turn listeners into raving fans and cash-paying clients, loyal customers of your product, your brands, your services. When you want to learn how to do this yourself, I've created a free 5-step story framework guide to help you start crafting compelling narratives and attention-grabbing stories that convert your audience into raving fans, into engaged audience members, and ultimately cash-paying customers who show up in your back office over and over and over again. This exact guide will give you the step-by-step process to create stories that resonate with your audience, that show your vulnerabilities, that help you connect emotionally and drive conversions for your very next presentation, webinar, interview, or sales opportunity. I do not want you to miss out on this opportunity to transform the way that you're connecting and communicating with your audience and prospect. What I want you to do right now is download your guide and start turning your expertise into standing ovations and cash paying conversions. I'm Sonia, and when we work together, you prosper.